Hello, everybody. It is great to be here again today, and my name is Gary Fowler, and I'm the host of the Founders Report with Gary Fowler. I'm a serial entrepreneur investor. I've done 17 startups and 2 unicorns. I was on the original management team at Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Yva.ai, an AI HR tech company. We believe that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not, and our job is to make a dent in the universe, make it a little bit better place, and technology is a tool for peace. I'm the CEO, president, and co-founder of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located, yes, in the heart of Silicon Valley. So with that, we look at companies all over the world. We look at individuals all over the world that are making a dent in their own specific way. And today I'd like to introduce Daniel Sarquis. He's a venture capitalist. He's an angel investor. His family does a lot of very conservative investment, but not Daniel. Daniel's the guy that goes out and takes the risk. And I'm sure those are interesting conversations over dinner some nights about why you're doing what, right? But so he's in Brazil. He does investments all over the world, in the U.S. and Europe and Latin America. He's looking at all kinds of industries from supply chain to planning, all areas, including artificial intelligence. So with that, Daniel, how are you doing today?
Thanks for having me today, Gary. I'm doing okay, and not okay, actually pretty good. And happy to be here. Yeah.
That's great. So tell me a little bit about it. So you grew up in Brazil. How was it, and where did you grow up? What city?
So yeah, I grew up in Belo Horizonte. This is not a very famous city in Brazil, but for me, the best city to live here. It's around like 3 to 4 million people. It's a nice, it's like a small city, but with a lot of inhabitants, and you have everything over here, and it was a quite nice place to live and learn. Yeah.
So what'd you do as a kid? Now, were you close to the Amazon, or where were you? Were you like going out and?
No, yeah, I'm quite.
Or what?
No, I'm quite in the middle of the country. So I'm 1 hour flight to Sao Paulo and Rio, and also Brasilia. That is our capital. So it's like a modern space with buildings not that big as you see in New York or San Francisco or LA or downtown LA, but it's like a more urban place to be. Yeah, it's a quite a good place. Yeah.
Now, is it safe, Daniel? Can you walk around at nighttime? And
so yeah, that is the point here. I've lived in Sao Paulo for almost 2 years. And I can say that Belo Horizonte is much safer than there, but not at the point that you can't use your cell phone at night and go around, have a walk, have a stroll.
So you can't be carrying your cell phone. You can't do that in a lot of cities in the U.S. unless you're crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
You're walking around and having a bunch of gold jewelry and diamond rings and a Rolex. It's probably
that's it. You can't. You can't use that. Maybe you can use some watch that nobody knows. Actually, watches are one of my passions. So when I was 18, I was actually invited to make a course in Switzerland with Cartier, their master watchmaker.
Wait a minute. What were you doing? Were you making watches, or what were you doing?
No, yeah, I was passionate. My dad had a great collection at the time, and I talked to the CEO and the the chief of watchmaking and developing the movements in Cartier. Actually was the first in-house movement of Cartier at the time. I was 18, so some years ago, and it was a nice opportunity, but I had to follow another path and do my engineer graduation.
So wait a second. So now tell me a little bit about the watch thing. So were you actually working as a watchmaker with a little thing on your eye and doing all that?
That was a possibility because I love that. So I still have my loops, my glasses to use like this, the gloves, and some of the tools to make it. But it wasn't I'm not very dedicated to do stuff. So
what happens when you're putting a watch? Because I was really concerned. I know one time I tried to take one of my watches apart. It wasn't an expensive one. It was a Seiko. And there's a bunch of stuff in there, springs and everything else, and little gears. How in the world do you take those? How can somebody really get down and take a little gear out and clean it and stick it back in?
It takes some time. It takes a lot of hard work of these like artists. And I'm pretty sure like Patek Philippe, Vacheron Constantin, Jaeger LeCoultre, they all have like 500, 600 pieces, watches, you know. And that is quite a job. That was not for me. So that's I decided not to go with that path.
Yeah. So when did you decide? When you pulled the watch open and you started putting the gears back in?
Maybe at some time that I've seen my dad like opening to see just the movement, to see if it was original, if it has like counterfeit pieces and or not. So I was like, I cannot do this type of work.
Wait, so some of those watches have fake pieces inside?
Yeah, lots of like, you know, I have this dual citizenship, the Italian citizenship, but Italians are really good at doing like fake
Who is
fake watches. Italian, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I have the dual citizenship of Italy. And Italians are really good at doing fake movements that seems like almost the same to the original.
No, these fake watches or just the movements?
The movements, the watches, they're really good at that job.
Seriously?
So you have to take care. Once you are like looking for a pre-owned watch, you have to like, you know, really take care. Mainly Rolexes, you know.
So they'll take a Rolex, and what do they do with the original insides? Take it out and then put the cheap stuff in?
Yeah, they do that, and they do like it from the beginning. So like the case, everything counterfeit. So
you can buy a fake watch in Italy.
Everywhere in the world. You know, that guy that made like lots of wines, the Chinese in California, I believe, that made his wines are all over the world right now. That is the same thing with watches. So you have to take care and watch carefully what you're like looking for and buying actually.
Really? I didn't know that. And I thought those were only from China. They had the Chinese knockoffs. So now, do they get to the point, then I'm interested. Do they get to the point where it's so fake that it's so good that it looks real?
Perfectly. Yeah. Even
and then how can you tell?
So details that once you're like use it to see all the watches and maximum you have to send it to the original factory. Like if you have a Rolex and you want to check if it's original or not, you have to send it. But once you send it, the person that is willing to sell it to you is already out because
my God. So,
you know,
so people buy these watches, and how much do they cost compared to a regular Rolex? Like if a Rolex is $10,000, how much is one of these ones?
To make it,
yeah,
less than 1,000. But to sell it, the same price because you don't see the difference. So you have to take care of it.
Yeah. Seriously?
Yeah, that's impressive. Thanks God, I've never bought a watch like that.
Boy, you're making me nervous just thinking about it.
Yeah, that is not a good way to think about, but it happens. That's the same thing happens with wines, and you think you are buying like a Petrus, Chateau Petrus, but you are buying the Chinese counterfeit.
Seriously, the Chinese. Yeah. Wow, so they're counterfeiting everything. Now, have you seen these watches, the counterfeit ones?
I've seen some of them. They're almost the same as the original one.
So why wouldn't somebody just go out and say, listen, I'll give you $2,000, give me the fake one, and I'll be wearing the fake watch. And what's the difference? Nobody's going to know anyhow.
You know, that's the same thing. You have to take care of the brand. If the brand was not like built with the money from the original ones, you won't have like a Rolex. Paul Newman would never wear a Rolex. So that's part of
No, I
the art,
understand. I
you
mean, the
know.
IP
Yeah,
needs to be protected, but it's interesting.
yeah,
I'd
yeah,
never
yeah,
have thought. I remember seeing in the magazine one time it said you can get a Japanese movement or Swiss movements in these fake watches, and I'm like, these are like fake Rolexes and Omegas, and I
yeah.
actually have a number of Omegas, and I thought to myself, well, geez, that one looks exactly the same as mine. I could buy one of them, and then I won't have to worry about ruining mine.
That's it. That's it. And it's an alternative if you think so. That
Well, I mean, if
many
you, if
people
I,
do that.
it's like an NFT. Except I got the real one. You just got a representation of the watch you have, right?
You're right. Yeah, you're right. That happens a lot.
That's crazy. Oh, wow. So let's go down through. So, you went to Colegio Santo Agustino, then you went to the University of Fumac for engineering.
Yeah.
How did you get interested in business?
So yeah, I've that is a curious fact about my dad is an actual engineer. He built a lot of bridges here in Brazil, big bridges. Lots of heavy constructions, and I grew in that environment, but it was never for me. My dad insisted that was a great course to learn logic and be good with numbers and better understand how things work. So I did it. And right after that, I went to Dom Cabral. Dom Cabral is it's a top 10 business school in the world. It's a really nice environment over there. And then I went to Cambridge to do.
Wait a minute. Where's Don Cabral? Is that
in Brazil, actually in my city. And you can double check that on the Financial Times rank about the business school. It's actually in the top 10 always, like top 15 at least for the last 10 years, 15 years. It's always been there. It's a really nice school. And I got this passion about business over there, learning where the world was going and so far,
Wow, that's amazing. So you went there and then you went to Cambridge. How long
Yeah.
were you in Cambridge?
So I've been in 2015 in a innovation entrepreneurship program. You have all of those great professors and everyone there. Maybe find someone in the street that wants a Nobel Prize, and that is a really nice
Well, that
environment
must
for
have
you.
been interesting, right? Now, did
Yeah,
you ever see Stephen Hawking's? Was he alive when you were over there or not? Yeah, about.
yeah. He was alive, but I unfortunately I wasn't able to see him. But I went to visit his college where he was. Like, it's an amazing city. Creativity is in the air, innovation is in the air. It's
Wow.
like, yeah, it's romantic. It's amazing.
Okay, so you did that, then you came out, and then what did you do? So you're a Italian citizen too, right?
Yeah. But at the time when I came back, I was working for AB InBev in the operational side, and then I was invited to be at like one of the first people in ZX Ventures here in Brazil. It was actually called Disruptive Growth Office. It was nice. It was quite a good experience, like being at like integrating all of those M&As, helping them to integrate it, doing the planning for the supply chain, like bringing Goose Island to Brazil, talking to global team. It was quite a school.
And why'd you leave?
So at that time, I left in 2017, 18, like end of 17. My family called me and asked me to help them, like building the structure of like the office, and I couldn't say no. So I came back to my city, to my hometown, and since the beginning, I saw that was not what I was going to do.
So you were working for your family. Was that at Coins Capital?
No, it was actually a family office. It's just a closed structure. Just we have our family inside of it, and I don't like to use it on my LinkedIn because it's like they don't like to see their names and stuff outside there. But
Really?
yeah, my
Why?
Yeah, because they're afraid of things. Brazil, some violent things happen here, so I was always like taking care to
Keep a low
keep
profile.
that's it on that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, but what happens when you fly to Miami? Do you have fun?
So lot of it, lot of it. Europe, the US, we can
Oh, you
like
can let your hair down and have fun and do fun, crazy stuff. Yeah.
that's it. That's it. Not that crazy, but a lot of great stuff. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so how long did you work for your family?
So actually, I worked for them like for almost 3 years. But 1 year was like an exclusive job, like building the structure, helping with the papers, like the financials and everything like that. But that was I realized that I need to do something else, and I went to California, to San Francisco. I had a cousin living at the time over there with his wife. They both are like seasoned executives. My cousin from eBay, she was working at Kaiser Permanent, the hospital, MBA in Stanford, a commodity over there. Everyone has the Stanford MBA, but you know, uh, they have a great network of people. And I called him and asked it, what do you have? What is happening there? Silicon Valley is like exploding. And I went there and I made my first movement,
Wow, that's great.
investing, yeah, outside of my family. Yeah, that
That's
wasn't nice.
what
Yeah,
did your parents say?
you are crazy. They
Hmm.
they they said I was crazy because I invested in cannabis. So it was something that they would never like it, but it was part of my movement. And thanks to that I step, I'm here today.
Wow, that's great. Was it a good venture?
It was a good venture. It's now like in all over the US. It's called Proposition, the brand. It's like a ready to drink cocktail. It was the first. It was like top 3 on BevNet contest 2019 in New York. So it was quite a good product. Yeah.
That's great. And you're the co-founder of the company?
No, I've just invested and helped the founder to structure the operations and like
Wow,
importing. Yeah.
that's fantastic. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened this Coins Capital? You're only there 9 months. What happened there?
Yeah. So I I'll go back a little bit, but when it was like the end of 2019. I was like a fan of the cannabis industry in the US, and I saw Europe had a lot to improve. And I went to Europe, talked to a lot of governments over there.
Mhm.
I love to speak different languages, so I've done like German for 8 years. French, Italian, Chinese now is my last venture, Spanish. So I went there and I talked to the governments to roll out an operation in Europe, like a different operation, like a factory to do different stuff
Mhm.
within the cannabis industry. It was the end of 2019. Uh, you, Everybody knows what happened after that. COVID came, and I came back to Brazil because I was afraid of doing any movement at the time. And I made other 3 investments,
Mhm.
2 in the psychedelic industry.
Yeah, how big are the investments you generally do?
So the investments I usually do here, and that was my check at the time. It was like between 1 and 200,000.
Mhm.
So it was quite good. That was my last one here. But it was actually in the Brazilian clean beauty industry. But in this, psychedelic part of the things, it was a smaller check because I was just seeing the industry and knowing the founders. Actually, they are amazing, and I loved it. I invested in these 2 companies. One is actually preparing for its IPO this year
Wow,
and
that's
on
great.
Nasdaq. Yeah, it's a great company. And in Brazil, it was a nice shot as well. it is now the biggest clean beauty industry, maybe in Latin America. In Brazil,
Wow.
for sure, but in Latin America. So it was a great investment. It was last year. So in the middle of that, I was invited to join Coins Capital and to be partner of and co-found Mergus Ventures.
So you, as you're moving down through this, does your father ever come back to you and say, "Well, maybe I was wrong"?
He said that. My grandfather more than that, and was like, "Yeah, something is going on, and it's a good start." But they are still like a little bit scared about
Have
all
they
of
said
that stuff.
anything that maybe they might want to invest in some things with you?
I hope so in the near future. They just, it's a very, we have lots of that in Brazil, like traditional families, but they are very traditional, very restricted. But I hope that in the near future they will join me. But right now, we are doing a great movement with Mergus and my partners over there and being part of Coins Network.
Well, that's great. So Mergus, tell us a little bit about Mergus. What's your investment thesis with Mergus?
Sure. So Mergus was founded last year. It was born with a deep tech and hard sciences bias. The thesis was we had the best universities in the country within our organization, and we partnered with this organization to invest. And now we have like almost 10 are confirmed, but will be more, at least 4 companies. But we have 10 now, companies that are doing like nanotech, biotech, AI, machine learning, all like almost state of the art, great scientists, researchers, and we are bringing this executive vision for them and helping them to, get bigger. And now we are willing to build the second fund, and the second fund will have like a lot of international background on that, and of course always looking to Latin America because it's like an emerging market. The currency here is like cheap for foreigners to invest. So, and we still have great founders and a great background of universities.
No, that's fantastic. So, as you're going through the process, what is the thing that you've learned in it? What's like one lesson while you're going down through this from university and all these multicultural experience about doing a startup that's really important? That's something you didn't think about before.
So, yeah, let's say that researchers are like people, impressive people, but they don't know how to do business. So if you are investing something in the industry and you have like universities or multicultural, you have to do it right with the right founder and a founder that listens. Because if they don't listen, the company won't thrive, And
Yeah, no, listening is important, right? Because you got to take the feedback and understand it. I agree with you 100%.
and the same thing for me, because we never know everything. Like Socrates say, I just know what I don't know nothing. So
That's true. I don't know, or I don't know what I don't know.
That's it. That's the only thing we know. But we are always learning. So that is like a lesson that maybe something is happening you don't know. You may don't want to talk to the entrepreneur, but it's something that is amazing. And after you talk to him and you see the company, that's always good to listen.
No, I agree with you 100%. So what's going to happen? There's 647 million people in Latin America. And how many people, what's the population in Brazil today?
Brazil is like, almost 220. Yeah,
220. So what's the future look like? Daniel, in your perspective in Latin America, you've got Brazil, and then you've got one language regime, right? The Portuguese. Then when you go to another country that's Spanish, how do you work together with them?
So what I think is that this is my vision about everything. That is like, you have to take care of where you live, right? And we just have one world. and we have to take care of it. Brazil is a primary agricultural and mining and country, so we have to take care of it. So we need technology to develop here and do not damage the country and damage the world as people are doing for so long. So this is the first thing. So we need to develop technologies here and get the best of sustainability and social development, everything that ESG says, but a practical case.
No, I agree with you. I mean, we got to treat this world a better way, because if we don't, in 250, 300 years, we're not going to be around. We're going to be extinct. I was talking, there's a very wealthy, one of the top 50, probably top 10 wealthiest people in the world. And I had a direct conversation with him, and he said, we're talking about Elon Musk and going to Mars. And I said, would you want to go to Mars? He said, for what? He said, well, yeah. I said, you got billions of dollars. Why don't you go to Mars and set up? He said, listen, I'm not going anywhere. He said, if we can't get the Earth right, why in the world would we want to send the polluting creatures to some other planet?
That's it. Yeah. Because we're going to destroy another planet. And so we have to take care of the planet. In Latin America as well, of course, Africa, Asia are far from doing that. So you have a lot of space in the venture capital area to develop, to invest in the right things and take care, of the world, of the living beings that they're on top of it.
Yeah, sometimes we forget about it, though, don't we? We got to think about it. Let's make the world a better place. Listen, we're coming up to the top of the show. So closing thoughts, and how can people reach you?
So, yeah, I think that is the only reason I'm investing right now, is because I'm willing to bring a better society and planet for my child. So that is the thing. I invest on people that are changing the world on that time. It's not a cliche, but I want some projects that are like doing good for the planet, not just not hurting it. So we have to invest in respecting it and in the living beings and the quality that we have here. We just have one planet. We don't have like 1.5 planet that we are spending right now. So this is the point. And it would be my pleasure for people to contact me with projects, investors, entrepreneurs. And I'm always free. My LinkedIn is Daniel Sarquis R. So everyone will find it. And I'm always open to that.
Nah, it's very good. I like your attitude, and I share it directly. So to my audience out there, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to the show today. We are in LaToken VCTV. I'd like to thank Hasmic and the entire LaToken team for making the Founders Report with Gary Fowler possible. For each and every one of you out there today, stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy, and let's make the world a better place, as Daniel says, because we only got one, and we haven't spent a lot of time in the last 50 years doing a good job with it. We better do it now, because we need to address the issues with global warming. We need to issue all the climate change pieces. We need to increase the food supply by 2050 by doubling it. And we need to do it so that it democratizes opportunity, and we can all take care of our families in a much better way and take care of each other in a kind and loving way. So with that, thank you very much. Thank you, team. Thanks, Daniel. And thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in for another exciting edition. I'll be back in 2 weeks with the Founders Report. Stay tuned, stay happy, and stay safe. See you later. Bye-bye.